All right, we're here at my outdoor worm bin, and it has been 13 days since we were in here last, and we gave them a little bit of a lighter feeding. So today we are going to see if we can give them more food and bulk them up a little bit. And the first thing I'm noticing is we've got some indentions from the ice cubes that we had put in here, and we've got some of the cardboard shreds recessing and showing some of the bigger stuff we put in here. Now, it has been raining for the last 2 weeks, so we actually have some mold and some other stuff growing on the edges, but that actually makes me feel good because I know that there's been plenty of moisture in here. And the last time we checked in this bin, it had been like 52 days. We ignored the bin, and they did pretty well, I think, in part because of all the moisture that was in there. And as I kind of scrape down here, we're starting to see some worms, and I expect to see some of that food that we left in here last time because it's only been less than 2 weeks. So let's kind of review what we put in here last time. We started with a bunch of odds and ends bedding, then we added shredded cardboard and mixed it up. We dumped in some cut up strawberry stalks and strawberry tops, followed by a potato half, an avocado shell, and a bunch of blueberries, lettuce leaves, and a celery stalk. Next came a delicious big piece of watermelon on a bed of shredded cardboard, and we topped everything off with some warm chow, used coffee grounds, and eggshell grit. And I think what I'm finding right here is probably that delicious watermelon we put in here, and it was a fairly big piece. So let's go ahead and lift it up. Now, I'm not feeling any heat in here, but check it out. The worms are definitely all over it. And yeah, check out that. We got a bunch right there, but they didn't quite get through it. So they are still working on it. Now, I wonder if my population has gone a little bit down since that last feeding because we ignored them for so long. But let's keep digging in and see if any of the other food is around here. And I'm feeling a little bit of moisture and probably some worms as well. And yep, sure enough, always running into avocado shells and just a little bit of scraps of maybe a tomato or something in there. But yeah, lots of great worms near the center. A little worm pocket right there. Let's go ahead and kind of dig into the sides and bring some of the dry shredded cardboard from the sides into the middle. And yep, here's some of the bigger cardboard pieces that we put in here. They've been doing a pretty good job in my urban worm bag, but as I look at this side over here looks pretty moist, but this side over here is a little dry. So I think even with all that rain, I probably need to come in here and water this bin down a little bit just because it's in the Florida heat. And although we're very humid, the heat can still evaporate some of that moisture that's in here. And oh my gosh, this is a mess. It's not hot, but it's certainly got matted down somewhere in the worm. You know what this is? This is the potato. Executive producer, do you smell anything?
No, thank goodness.
Oh, thank goodness. This is the potato. I am not a huge fan of potatoes in the worm bin. They will eat them, but this kind of thing can happen, especially when you put in a piece as big as I did. So we'll try and make sure that that goes in the center so they keep working on it. Ooh, check that out. Worms right there. A little bit of a tiny worm ball. I think I kind of dropped some of them, but there must have been something interesting, and it might have been this cardboard tube here. Just going to kind of rip it open. I think they kind of fell out of it. But again, moisture, a little bit drier, so we're going to make sure I water this in pretty good and water it in maybe every 3 days or so to help them. And part of the reason is because I really bulked this up. Check out all this shredded cardboard I put in here. So the worms got to get to work, and we're going to give them a big feeding because think they can handle it, and the stuff that is left isn't too bad. That watermelon's going to go quick. That potato is sketchy, but other than that, I'm going to put in some foods that I know they will eat quick. Again, another clump here, not of food, but just kind of matted down material, and it looks like maybe a spot where I put down some coffee and mass and onion, and check out that. That right there is not a worm. I'm going to get that out of there. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a larvae of some sort or some kind of centipede. Oh, that is not going to last in the worm bin here. Let's take that out. It's one of the things with an outdoor bin. You can get critters that you don't necessarily want in here, and here's another one. And if I found two, there's definitely going to be more. Yeah, man, right in here, whatever this is, those critters definitely liked being in there. Okay, very interesting. We'll be looking for these in future check-ins. All right, let's come over to this side and see what we're going to find here. And yep, a lot more of our bigger kind of cardboard. And I put a lot of that in, so not surprising that we have that in here. And again, a little bit more dry stuff. So don't think we need to bulk it up as much as I thought we did with dry cardboard. And I always put the cardboard in here dry. It doesn't always look like this. This is because we didn't water it in as much as we usually do. If you're wondering if worms like coffee grounds, check that out. They are all over these coffee grounds right here. They got stuck inside of this avocado shell, and the coffee grounds did, and the worms are just going in and out of them, really enjoying themselves. If worm can enjoy itself. All right, looking good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to gather all this big bedding up, put it in the center, and let's go ahead and start feeding. Where did that fall from?
Me? You're flicking my stuff out.
Gosh, sorry. You're way up there. How did I get it all the way up there?
You didn't. I just dropped it
I
from
dropped
the
it
top.
out from the floor. All right, so I'm going to rip some of this stuff up and make it a little bit smaller for them. And I guess this is what happens when you're used to feeding every 3 weeks or so. You check in a little bit earlier and it surprises you. So I guess we are kind of interrupting them as they usually do their eating of the food that I have in here. And we'll just keep ripping this stuff up, putting it in the middle.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
going to look
he's
good
gonna
just like that.
Sorry. That lizard's gonna eat that worm.
So I think we have all the bedding we need initially here. I'm just going to put a little bit more on top, some of the shreds, and then we'll put our feeding right here. So this is what we had in mind to feed, plus one big surprise for them. We've got some lettuce stalks, put in some more avocado shells, and here's a little avocado shells with all kinds of treats in there, like cucumbers, carrots, more lettuce. Got a piece of pineapple. That can take a long time in your worm bin. Celery stalk doesn't take too long. We've got some strawberry tops right here. Actually, we've got a lot of them, so that's good. And we've got an apple core. Got a banana, that sticker right there. They will eventually eat around it, and then we'll be able to take that sticker out. I'll just kind of dump the rest in here, just like that. This is a fat grape. I'm going to burst it, because if I don't, they don't get into them until a long time from now. So there we go. But it needs something extra. This right here, believe it or not, was a little bitty watermelon that we grew in our yard. And if you can see right there, it got caterpillars. We planted a little bit late in the season, and when you do that in Florida, the pests get to things really quick. So I am actually not going to break this open or anything for them. I want to see if they go in these holes and penetrate and kind of eat this from the outside in. Watermelon is one of their most favorite foods, or the foods that they get to faster. So we're going to kind of see how that peel does against the worms. So next we're going to go in with a little bit of worm chow. This is confectioner's sugar and steel cut oats, and I just kind of put it on sparingly. I don't really want to feed them a bunch of this because it can cause a problem, just like any overfeeding situation. Next we're going to go in with a bunch of coffee grounds, and I, as you can see, need to get rid of these, so we're going to be pretty generous with them. Coffee grounds are a great source of nitrogen for them, and the worms kind of like them because they are so finely shredded, and as you saw, the worms were bunched all around them. This is eggshell grit, and I give them a generous amount because when we do our time lapses, I see them come up and ingest it first, and it helps them digest their food by breaking it up into smaller pieces in their gizzards. Now, as you could probably tell by how mushy all these food scraps are, I store all my food scraps in my freezer because what that does is it helps to break down the cell wall of the plant material, because water expands when it freezes, and the more mushy it is, the more the worms are able to eat it quicker. So this time we're just going to add just a little bit of shredded cardboard. And if you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And also the bell notification button if you want to know when I release my next video. So I'll put just a little bit more here on the edges. And if you want to see an experiment I did in here when I did a pumpkin versus a watermelon, check out this video right here. Now I do have to warn you, that was a pretty old video, and I think my editing has gotten better. Let me know in the comments what you think of my editing. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing fantastic. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now. Buddy guy. And yes, we are going to water this in.